Hello again, this is Dr. Matthew Croston, and I'm here to deliver the good news to you that this new Cold War between America and Russia that we all are rending our garments and twisting our faces up in great consternation and deep reflection is in fact a fake Cold War. Much ado about nothing. It is an awful lot of posturing for the cameras and a blowing of mighty wind that signifies little. How could I say such a thing? Am I ignorant? Am I naively optimistic? Am I a Putin plant in the West trying to distract audiences from the very real and impending danger of a coming World War III? Nothing of the sort. I believe this is a fake Cold War based on the ample evidence being provided by both sides. Allow me to count the ways. Actions taken by America over the past few years. The Magnitsky Act. Comprehensive sanctions after the Ukrainian affair, intervening in Libya and Yemen, lobbying against the JCPOA, the Iran nuclear treaty, by relevant political leaders threatening to repeal it, deployment of the THAAD missile defense system in South Korea, the freedom of navigation patrols in the South China Sea, open hostility from prominent members of Congress directly toward Russia, various expulsion of Russian diplomatic members from Washington, D.C., and of course, boots on the ground and more in Syria against Assad. Now, all of these actions are, of course, met by counteractions by Russia. The intervention in the Maidan Revolution in Kiev, enforcing the secession vote in Crimea, exiting specific nuclear proliferation treaties, reforming and modernizing its military arsenal, the hacking scandals, possibly even compromising the U.S. presidential election, strategic moves against NATO relevance, various counter-expulsions of American diplomatic members from Moscow, and, of course, boots on the ground and more in Syria against Assad opposition. This is not even a full list, ladies and gentlemen, but most of the events listed above form the core evidence used to justify the declaration that a new Cold War has begun. But I believe it is quite the opposite. Several individual items on the above lists alone would be reason enough for many other countries in other locales and contexts to go to war with each other. Not only do we presently live in a moment where many in the United States believe that Russia purposely undermined and corrupted the presidential election of 2016, and that the current president sitting in the Oval Office is Putin's puppet, for lack of a better term, but Russia, for its part, believes the United States has de facto tried to kill Russian citizens through the soft power manipulation of sanctions, purposely trying to force a revolution from within against Putin by making regular people suffer. It is not important whether these two belief systems are factually true. What matters are the disturbing percentages within both local populations that believe they are. Name me other situations where two powerful countries can think such things about the other and not end up going to war or escalating their animosity beyond simply competing press conferences and media blasts, which in real time is all this so-called new Cold War has amounted to so far. Even more incredulously, both the United States and Russia are presently intervening inside of a foreign country that has semi-disintegrated into near anarchy, but they are actually intervening on opposite sides of the conflict. Russia has openly questioned the wisdom of removing the Assad regime from power, as well as being at least semi-justifiably suspicious of the membership of many opposition groups in terms of their allegiance to democratic institutions, or rather to radical Islamist ones. America has steadfastly accused Russia of not only supporting a man who committed war crimes by using biological weapons against his own people, but that the Russian Air Force has indiscriminately bombed areas of Syria that were purely civilian, thereby violating the Geneva Conventions. I am hard-pressed to think of worse accusations to diplomatically lob toward opposing sides during a conflict. But then to remember that these two sides have both personnel and materiel in the battle arena, pursuing contradictory objectives, and that neither side has engaged the other in any manner within Syria, not even once, is simply incomprehensible. Incomprehensible, that is, if this truly was a real Cold War, capable of becoming a true conventional one. This implausible level of good luck and or coincidence can only come about from a deliberate strategy of restraint. And that is exactly my point. It is a deliberate strategy of restraint, manifested on both sides toward each other. Yes, Russia and America have different interests on a number of issues, and have pursued those interests with an impressive projection of power in various arenas across the world. But despite this, neither has fallen victim to misperception, misdirection, manipulation, what have you, to the degree that either side wanted to incite a real war between them. I can believe in coincidence in foreign affairs. I can even believe in coincidence a couple of times. But at this point in the so-called new Cold War, these two opponents are benefiting from nearly a dozen coincidences in order to not be in an all-out, full-scale war. That is too much for even my bleeding optimistic heart. This consistent ability to antagonize but pull back, to accuse but go no further, to reprimand but not retaliate in force, is why Cold War 2.0 is an empty Cold War. And thank goodness for that. Not only does it mean the world is not truly under the threat of nuclear annihilation, neo form or not, but as long as America and Russia continue to play enemy footsie with each other, they are suitably distracted from noticing areas where they in fact have common interests, and might even benefit from uniting into a team. If most of the international community thinks the world is not in a safe place when America and Russia are not getting along, just imagine how much consternation they could create, what there might be in certain places, if the two actually became real strategic and foreign policy allies. The meddling under that context would make the current complaints of individualistic meddling seem infantile. So cheer up, world. Sit back and watch the Bully Brothers do their thing with each other. In the end, it's not going to amount to very much, and it prevents them from ganging up on you. Because if there's one thing both Russia and America have had in common for generations, it is a sense of global importance and political and religious and cultural messianism that is breathtaking to behold, if not also mind-blowingly uncontrolled. It just might be better to have those tendencies obsessed with each other rather than focused on someone else. Deal with it, people. The Cold War isn't really a Cold War at all.